Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions in the worlds of TV, pop culture, film, social media, sports, music, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is the frontman, singer, band leader of a band you might recognize as the Aquabats. Their new record, Kooky Spooky in Stereo, comes out August 21st. We are with the MC Bat Commander. Sir, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you, sir. Kapow. Boom.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing this. I mean, the Aquabats are such a fun band. Like I said before, I've yet to see the band live, but everything you kind of put out is just positive energy and a lot of fun. Before we get into the new record, I just kind of want to know what were kind of some elements that led to kind of the awesome, amazing, creative work that is the Aquabats. How did that come to be?
I mean, really just, it was a bunch of friends going to live shows and enjoying live music. And I think at the time when we started the band, there was a lot of punk shows, and a lot of us, some of the guys in the band were actually in punk bands, and things were kind of violent and negative. And there was a ska scene happening in Orange County, and you'd go to the shows and people were having fun and talking to each other and, hey, what's your name? And wow, there's girls here. And it was like people dancing and having a good time. And we just like wanted to tap into the fun that everyone was having in that scene. It was like, obviously No Doubt and Sublime were a little bit of the older bands, but some of the younger bands like Real Big Fish and, some of the other Knuckle Brothers. There were some other bands like around that time in Orange County that we were like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And there were touring bands like Let's Go Bowling and those kind of things. Anyway, we just wanted to do something that was fun, and we kind of took it to the next level and decided to make fun of ourselves at the same time we were kind of having fun in this fun scene. And so that was kind of the impetus of being in the Aquabats, is just being ridiculous and having a good time and entertaining ourselves and hopefully entertaining other people.
Sometimes the term, I find it interesting. I wanted to kind of ask you this, and I can ask other bands as well, like this, like Slipknot, like the term gimmick. Like, what does the MC Bat Commander think of that term? Like the gimmick, right? Like, what do you think of that term? Is it a bad term? Is it a good term? You know what I mean?
Well, I think culturally, like anytime you start a band and you're going for a certain sound, there's a look attached to the sound. And so, we've been dismissed as gimmicky or a novelty band. There was some bands we were playing with at the time where we would get dismissed as you guys are just novelty. But whatever the fashion is at the time or whatever the sound is at the time, it's all a gimmick. You're all just trying to entertain people with a look and a feel. And so, you can dismiss things as gimmicky or novelty, but it's really just what you're bringing to it. Like, look at, Slipknot. Mm-hmm. I appreciate Slipknot. They're doing their thing and they're terrifying. They're like, serial killers from prison, and they're playing that kind of music. And so they're just bringing an added element of entertainment to it. And I think for a while, the grunge thing was to like not dress up at all, but essentially that became dressing up, like dressing grunge, so gimmick is whatever becomes popular, people try to copy. And so we were just trying to be original at the time. And
yeah, absolutely.
At the time, something that was really, really super nerdy was superhero stuff. So comic books, and in the early 90s, like chain wallets and baggy shorts were the gimmick, like shaving your head and bleaching your hair white and looking like Eminem. That was kind of like everyone was doing that. So we were like, what could be super the opposite of that? I know.
Absolutely.
Let's be super nerdy superheroes. And so now, 20 years later, you have Marvel, and every superhero in the planet it's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But, we're still like the homemade cosplay. I mean, we were a cosplay before people knew what cosplay was.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I actually just interviewed, from the 1960s Robin, like Burt Ward. I just interviewed.
Yeah, cool.
And we were talking about that a little bit.
Yeah. Right. I mean, and in the 60s and in the 80s, I mean, every band you had to have an identity. If you didn't have it, if you just got up there and played music, people don't want to see it. It gets boring. Like even, Ricky Martin, like his gimmick was, he's living La Vida Loca, but he was putting on costumes and showing his chest hair and looking macho. That's part of a gimmick. It's part of your identity as a band. And we always looked up to bands that had strong identity, and whether that was the Specials or Devo or even David Bowie, and David Bowie would reinvent himself every record. But that was, people could say, oh, that's so gimmicky, but David Bowie's a genius.
I feel like all those bands you just mentioned are a perfect kind of like blend, a little bit of like what the Aquabats are kind of all about.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is amazing. And I did mention, Fashion Zombies was like my MySpace page song for like a long time.
Perfect.
Do you kind of look back at those days of like kind of the internet days, the MySpace Pure Volume days, and see that as a cool time for the Aquabats? Because a lot of people were discovering you guys on those websites.
Yeah, I think so. And Fashion Zombies was definitely like a response song to, at the time, the kind of flat iron, look like a zombie, dress all in black on MySpace. It was like really popular. Like Screamo was really howling, like, and so that's what Fashion Zombies was. It was
a lot of people had that song as their profile.
Song. Fashion Zombies was our like, hey, like they're just born that way. Just let them be, like let these zombies be who they are.
Absolutely. So the new record, Kooky Spooky,
yes,
in stereo. I mean, it's an Aquabats record, right? I
think so. I mean, they're all Aquabats records, but in terms
of the sound, yes. I mean, there's a song out there right now that people could check out.
Karate Body just came out last week. It's like one of our singles. We've actually released several singles from the record already. Pajamas On came out right at the beginning of the pandemic, which was ironic because we wrote a song about staying indoors and never going outside and ordering everything off of Amazon. And why would ever go outside again? Because that's where all the germs are. And we wrote that song like 2 years ago and it just came out. So I don't know like what's happening. And then, we've had a couple songs come out. No One Wants to Party at My House and Karate Body. And there's another single that we're probably going to release in a week or so. But the record comes out Friday. There's a lot of fun songs on it. We try to give it the like well-rounded treatment. So there's a little bit of Aquabats from each era in there. There's some that feels really ska, like Pajamas On, and some that are more surfy, like No One Wants to Party at My House. And then Karate Body's been compared a lot to like a Devo song. It's very Devo, and it goes into this weird Van Halen thing at the end. And it's fun. We're having fun.
I know we were speaking to MC Back Commander right now, but I do have a question for Christian Jacobs, if that's okay.
Sure. I'll see if he's available.
Yeah.
Great character.
I mean, I was a kid, grew up in the 90s. I mean, a lot of those kid shows and like edutainment was kind of a big part of my life. A lot of these shows that, like I grew up watching shows, like Arthur and Cyber Chase and all these shows, and you were part of the creation of the show on Nickelodeon called Yo Gabba Gabba. Which, what
about Franklin? Hey, it's Franklin.
Okay, is there a reason why he's the only animal not named after the animal? Like he's not named Turtle. Have you noticed that? Am I the only one? There's Bear, Fox, Goose, and he's Franklin.
That's true. Well, Arthur too. What was Arthur? Was he some
Arthur
kind
was
of
an aardvark. Arthur is like one of the greatest. Yeah. That's the thing, though. You can compare. Okay, Yo Gabba Gabba. What I love about Yo Gabba Gabba is it was just one of those, like, it was fun. It was kind of learning for the kids. It was colorful, but the music, kind of bringing in the bands to play these songs, was just like, you hit it out of the park. It was amazing. So I'm just curious, like, I mean, did it kind of have to do with just the idea of creating something cool and fun for kids that wasn't necessary, that was kind of cutting edge a little bit as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we were trying to get a show going with the Aquabats because we felt like we're never going to be U2 and write, like, you know, Where the Streets Have No Name and make a motion picture about the Aquabats. Like, people aren't ever going to take us that seriously. So we thought, let's make a TV show. And we were going through different versions of the Aquabats show, and an Adult Swim version, and it's more rowdy and kind of like 60s Batman. And then it just, you know, I got married and I started having kids and watching stuff with my kids, and my partner on Yo Gabba Gabba, he was having, you know, a family, and we were watching shows, and we're like, maybe we should just shift gears a little bit and do something that's younger for kids, like more like Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers, but make it crazy and wacky with all the stuff we like, but especially with music. And the music was a big thing. And we wanted to do a lot of electronic and hip hop beats and 808 and, you know, Juno 106. Woo!
Yeah, but you had good guests. You got Take It Back Sunday, Jimmy Eat World. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, and that we wanted to expose our kids to all kinds of good music, and in an appropriate way, of course. You know, because sometimes, you know, you don't want to start your kids on Slipknot too early.
I know. And you guys played Pool Party on it, which I think is the coolest. But I just love the Take It Back Sunday. We all love our pets. Like, that was the best, man.
And those guys, I still keep in touch with Adam and those guys from Taking Back Sunday. They're great guys. And it was fun because I saw Adam at, what's that festival in Chicago that happens?
Riot Fest?
Yeah, I saw him at Riot Fest a couple years ago, and he's like, dude, my kids are so into the Aquabats show now. Can you send us some stuff? So we sent him a bunch of Aquabats gear. And so that's fun because at the time when Adam was on Yo Gabba Gabba, he didn't have kids yet. So a couple years later down the road, now his kids are watching Yo Gabba Gabba and the Aquabats. And so that's fun.
People don't really have like plans, like it kind of all happens. But do you think there's a little bit of a plan to kind of like, you were going to be like a musician, but like you knew that there could have been like more to it as well, like the TV show and the brand, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's tough to kind of plan these things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was totally like, hey, I got an idea. Let's just try this. And it just worked. I mean, it just happened to work. And I'm going to say we got really lucky. But there was a lot of things that happened that were just magical, that it was kind of like it was supposed to happen. And we've been trying forever to do the Aquabats and show people, hey, we're funny and it's fun. But it never really caught on as well as Yo Gabba Gabba. And I think because Yo Gabba Gabba had a lot more of a universal appeal, and it was all across the board in all walks of life, all races, all cultures, and all kinds of different music. I mean, we had country music on, we had hip hop, of course, but we had electronica and punk, and we had all different kinds of music on there. And, you know, it was just fun to go to the Yo Gabba live shows too.
I just feel like edutainment is just massive, man. Like, I think those are the important shows. You're creating shows that are kind of molding minds before they kind of, you know, go to school pretty much, or while they're in early stages of school. Like, those are important, man.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we wanted to focus on, is like, what are the messages we really want our kids to learn? And those things were like inclusion and loving each other and understanding that everyone is different, but we all have the same basic needs, and we all want to be happy. And how do we ask for forgiveness? How do we give forgiveness? You know, all those human kind of things you want to teach your kids, and 100%. Don't bite your friends, and try new foods, and, you know, all that stuff that hopefully they learned.
Well, okay. Well, Christian, can you go get the MC Bat Commander for me? I have to ask him a question.
Yeah, I'll bring him back.
Okay.
Hey, I'm back. The Bat Commander's here.
So, MC Bat Commander, thank you so much for coming on Popternative to talk about the new record, Kooky Spooky in stereo.
Yeah, that's right. Comes out August 21st.
And where are they going to be able to listen to it?
Everywhere. I mean, Spotify, Apple Music, Download Center, wherever.
Do you remember the days of like LimeWire?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Like, it's just like, it's
BitTorrent.
crazy. But I think, okay, so like, I mean, Fashion Zombies, I mean, the MySpace days, I mean, I like how that was quite a bit ago, but like, what was that? What, like, early 2000, what years?
It had to be '05, right? '05,
yeah.
'06.
Do you remember, like I mentioned, remember Pure Volume? Do you remember that website?
Yeah, but long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That had to be 15 years ago.
But it was a lot of those bands, like you just said, like there was like screamo bands and everything. But like Pure Volume was one of those websites where like I discovered like some ska bands from Chicago that I never heard existed, and like it was just like you found new things, not just like the screamo stuff.
And that's what I think is great about the internet. I mean, you can find so much stuff, and even with Discogs now, like if you collect vinyl, you can kind of type in something you've been looking for, and you can find copies of it around the world. It's pretty awesome.
No, absolutely. Where can people follow the band on social media to keep update with everything?
What's that?
Where can people follow the band on social media to keep update with everything?
So we've got our Instagram, which is just the Aquabats, at the Aquabats, and then there's our Facebook. We have an Aquabats channel, and then the Aquabats.com. There's we still have a .com. We're still old school like that. And then we have merchandise and stuff at kingsroadmerch.com. I don't know if you've heard of Kings Road, but they do all kinds of cool
And does the MC Bat Commander have his own social media?
He does not. The Bat Commander usually does the Aquabats Instagram. So I'm usually pushing out clips for the band on behalf of the band.
Absolutely.
But Christian Jacobs does. Christian Jacobs has one. And actually, that Christian Jacobs guy has his own podcast as well called World's Best Dad. Yeah, World's Best Dad podcast. So it's him and his old skateboard buddy, Jimmy Origi, and they interview. I mean, last week we had Lee Ving from Fear, the singer of Fear. We've had Steve Caballero's coming up, Bobcat Goldthwait, John Heder from Napoleon Dynamite. So we've had some great guests.
That's my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, it's good. The John Heder one's good because he talks about his dad and then he talks about him being a dad. And
I gotta watch that. Is that episode out yet?
Yeah, it's comedy, so it's not like here's how to be a dad. It's more just joking around and having fun. So.
Amazing, absolutely. Seriously, thank you so much for coming on the show. And seriously, thank you and the rest of the Aquabats for creating. Like, I mean, you're the type of band that we need right now. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean by that.
I will not disagree. Yes. Everyone, you need the Aquabats in your life.
You do, though. You do. Like, it's just all positive energy all the time.
It's just fun. And it's also, I think people need to realize life is precious. This whole pandemic, and life is short. It's too short to spend your time being mad and angry. Let's just love each other and have a good time and make fun of each other. We just love making fun of ourselves because we're ridiculous.
For sure. Well, thank you again, sir. And congrats to you and the band on the new record. And everyone's going to check it out. It's going to be awesome.
Hey, it's really fun. And it's kooky and it's spooky. So
absolutely
check it out in stereo.
Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can check out the new Aquabats record August 21st, wherever you listen to music. And until next time, this is the MC Bat Commander and PD Beats signing off.
PD Beats, take it easy.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.